Fellas, the British Army is preparing its largest reservist mobilization exercise in 20 years. The reservists are the soldiers human beings that are militarily trained. They just sit there, waiting for war to arrive in order to defend the country. There will be a supplement to the military that is working every single day. So Britain and many other countries have reservists. The British Army is now preparing its largest reservist mobilization exercise in 20 years. Like in 20 years since the Iraq War, it had never happened. It is happening right now. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's not a beautiful day. The war is at war. Well, you don't want to get involved. No, you don't want to get involved. That's none of your business. Trust me. You're African American, you're Caribbean, you Afro descendants. This is none of your business. I'm sorry. Let me put it this way. I don't care whether you're American, you're British. No, it's not your war. Okay, so what's happening? The British General Staff is preparing its largest reserve. So what is the goal of this? The goal is to verify the operational availability of more than 10,000 reservists. The exercise is expected to take place in September and will be coordinated by senior officers in Andover. General Sir Patrick Sanders, Chief of the General Staff, said that in the face of the Russian aggression in Eastern Europe, the UK should take steps to prepare society for a potential war. So he highlighted the growing threat from Russia and called on British authorities to mobilize the nation. Why is Britain getting mobilized? I'm just asking a question. Don't you want to know why is Britain getting mobilized? Is Britain at war with Russia? As far as I know, that's not the case. I thought it was Ukraine and Russia. Wasn't it Ukraine? Wasn't it Ukraine and Russia? Why is Britain getting mobilized? Okay, why would these kids go and die for Ukraine? I'm just asking a question. Would Ukraine die for Britain? I'm just asking a question. Why? So reservists get paid. They get about £800 per month. That's the money they get. That's good money in many countries, okay? So I guess if you get paid, you have to do some work, right? And unfortunately, your work consists of possibly being unalived. And sometimes for things that don't regard you. Okay, why would you go to a war that doesn't regard you? This is none of your wars. Why? What? I'm just asking. We all know that Russia and Ukraine had come to an agreement at the beginning of the war, and Turkey was going to be the mediator. The goal was to finish this war without having any bloodshed, until Boris Johnson went to Ukraine and said to them, do not give up. We are going to supply you with weapons and all the stuff that you need, satellite intelligence and everything else. Trainers, masters, whatever you call it. We're going to supply. That's when the Ukrainians got the courage to go to war. Now, does Ukraine has the right to defend itself? Absolutely. Everybody has the right to defend itself within the frame of the law, of the rules. Yeah, you have to defend yourself. But does the war in Ukraine have the right to implicate everybody into creating World War III? No, I don't think so. I'm sorry. Not for me. And my issue is we all have cousins in Europe, in many other places. What if World War III started? We all getting implicated into things that we're not involved in. I think there are better ways to fix this war. And the bottom line is, the issue between Ukraine and Russia is not really Ukraine and Russia. It is Russia against everybody. That's what it looks like. Or else, Britain will not mobilize its reservists, getting people ready for war. The bottom line is this. Does Russia really want to go to Europe and destroy? I doubt it. Do you believe Russia want to go take over France, take over Poland, take over England, take over Germany? I don't think so. The question is, what's the interest? What would Russia gain by taking over Germany, Poland, France, Belgium? What would they gain? What we know as per history is this. History tells us this, that the Russians and the Americans had a discussion many years ago. The discussion was about Berlin. Berlin was divided in two parts. One part was run by Europeans and the other part was run by the communists. They begged the Russians, saying, if you allow Berlin to be one, we will not move 1 centimeter to the east. That's what we know as per history.
We told the Russians in 1991 and 1992 repeatedly and in writing, although not in a signed treaty, that if they removed the 400 troops from Germany and allowed Germany to reunite under NATO, that we would not move NATO 1 inch to the east.
Now, many years later, many other countries that were not part of NATO, such as Poland, Georgia, and many other countries, are now part of NATO, coming right to the border of Russia. And as per the Russians, that's the reason why they're fighting. They do not want NATO into Ukraine because that's a massive hazard for them. It's dangerous for their existence. Now, General Sir Patrick Sanders says, give me war. No, he didn't say that. He said, we will not be immune. No, he didn't say that. We will not be immune. We must prepare accordingly as per pre-war generations. This is a task for the entire nation, he said. So, British, as per Mr. Patrick, will not be immune by the strikes of Russia. Obviously, if you bomb Russia, they're going to bomb you back. If you're preparing to do something, then you will not be immune. No doubt about it. Because I haven't seen Russia actually bomb any other European country, have they? I'm just asking. If they have, please let me know. Have they bombed Norway or Sweden or Denmark? They haven't bombed anybody, as far as we see. Now, are they going to do it in the future? We don't know. But if you bomb them or you send your weapons there, they're going to bomb you. Now, why do you think British are getting ready? British are getting ready because they authorize Ukrainians to use their weapons to hit Russia.
In terms of what the Ukrainians do, in our view, it is their decision about how to use these weapons. They're defending their country. They were illegally invaded by Putin, and they must take those steps. We don't discuss any caveats that we put on those things, but let's be absolutely clear. Russia has launched an attack into Ukraine, and Ukraine absolutely has the right to strike back at Russia.
Now, they are preparing because they know if Ukrainians hit Russia with their weapons, the Russians are going to find a way to hit Britain very hard. That's why they're mobilizing. Fellas, don't get involved. Don't get involved. This is not your war, none of your business. There was a great man of Africa, a great Malawian named John Chilembwe. Many years ago, he said to his people, we are not going to war because this war is not our war. At that time, the British were trying to force them to go fight the Germans in Tanzania. And he said to his people, we are not going to this war. It's not our war. Who was John Chilembwe? He was a pastor. And I know today pastors only talk about visas, talk about marriage, talk about getting money, talk about abundance and driving big cars. John Chilembwe in his time did not talk about visa, marriage or whatever. The issue was political. He said to his people, you are not getting involved in this war. It is not your war. We understand we are colonized by the British, but the British will not force us into a war that is not ours. They fought with the British. They finished some of them. Anyway, Donald Trump says he's going to finish the war if he was elected president.
Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over.
Can he finish the war? He possibly can, because Donald Trump doesn't like war. Okay, he doesn't. The proof is in the pudding. He went to North Korea and met North Korean president for the very first time ever. Crossed an American president into North Korean territory. It was emphatic, but they don't like that. You have to justify the production of weapons. If he ends the threat, the fear of North Korea, then what are you going to do with the companies that produce weapons and missiles and the best jet and stuff? They're going to go bankrupt. Let's just think rationally. It's the same concept as medically. They have to create you funny things so they can justify their existence. I'm just being honest. I mean, don't you think so? What kind of business will they do if there's no war? If your company lives by or makes profits by selling weapons, there must be fear somewhere. You must either fear China, you must either fear North Korea, or fear Russia. If there's no fear, there's no business. Trump, can he do that? It's possible. He says he just needs to talk to Putin, have a discussion with him, and end war. Because nobody has to die stupidly. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.